Hey, what is going down, guys? TalkNorwichCity here, back for another episode of the TNC Podcast. This isn't Thursday Night Chats, this is the TNC Podcast, because apparently there's loads of TNC Podcasts on iTunes.
Yeah, we are copying quite a few people.
Well, no, they copied us, they just got in quite early. Anyway, massive thank you for your support on the first few weeks' episodes. If you're on iTunes, then hello. If you're on SoundCloud, hello. But I assume you're on the YouTube channel, so hello to you too. Chris, one of the busiest weeks in recent Norwich City history has just gone down. We've got 2 games to talk about. We've got a managerial sacking to talk about.
So much to talk about.
So start talking.
Let's
Alex
start. Is gone.
Yeah,
Alex Neil's gone.
let's start
Biggest
with that then.
point.
Friday night, I was away in a hotel with
Yeah.
my girlfriend celebrating our anniversary.
Yeah.
I thought, perfect time to get away. Nothing's going to happen. Bang! Alex Neil sacked.
Yeah, it was huge news. My potential brother-in-law to be unfortunately captured a video of me dancing, uploaded it on Twitter. Kind of went a bit wild, so apologies if that was misinterpreted. I wasn't celebrating the fact that Alex Neil had been sacked, but celebrating that this is a new beginning.
It was almost a release, wasn't it?
Oh God, yeah, definitely. And I'm just really, really, really looking forward to the new manager coming in now. He's just going to do the world of good. Players like Pritchard that are just rotting away on the bench. We can really, really utilise those guys now.
Were you expecting it to come Friday night? I mean,
no, not at all.
There's been points this season when it looked almost nailed on.
Well, I'm quite annoyed, Jack, because my EDP article got pulled last minute.
What a shame.
Well, hey, it is a shame. I worked on it all week, and Delia didn't even consider that my article's going to be in the paper.
Delia. We'll have a look at Delia's book in a minute to keep her happy.
Good old Delia. I do love Delia.
By the way, food tonight, we've got Bourneville. What percentage is this chocolate? 60? 70% cocoa?
I don't know.
Have you ever tried 90% cocoa?
It's got 3.8 grams of protein per 100 grams. I'm not sure if that's good, but
you're not going to be seeing gains from that.
No, but Cadbury's Bourneville is the choice tonight. We've also got some rather questionable Milky Way cake bars. You know, oh, by the way, right, my shopping delivery driver is an Ipswich fan and watches this video, and he turned up with these as a replacement for Cadbury's cake bars.
No.
Furious. Absolutely livid.
That's just distorted the audio,
anyway,
as well as cracked the Milky Way bar.
Anyway, football, come on.
Yeah, so Alex Neil is gone. Was it the right decision?
Yes. Should have happened in December. It didn't. I think that the board have been thinking about it for probably quite some time. But the thing is, right, everyone slags off the timing, but there was never a good time. There's never a good time to lose your job. There's never a good time to tell anyone that they can lose a job.
Would the right time have been when we were still in the playoffs? We could see things were starting to take a bit of a fall. We'd slipped from something like 2nd to 6th, but we were still in the playoffs. So that would have been a good time.
Yeah.
So there was a right time.
Yeah, but even then, for Alex Neil's sake,
yeah,
because now everyone is feeling sorry for Alex Neil, which is fair enough. He has got £2 million though, folks. Let's remember that.
Yeah. Do you think that came into play? That £2 million? Do you
yes,
think that
100%. Anyone that says it didn't is lying.
Yeah.
I think Ed Balls is great in front of the media. Absolutely love him. Such a nice bloke. Best interests at heart, but there's no way the $2 million didn't come into play.
Of course. So since the last time we spoke on here, there's been 2 games: Bristol City away, Blackburn Rovers at home. 2 draws, 2 games we've gone
Shocking.
ahead. And not. I think the real one for me, where it was just like, okay, this is not progressing onwards now, was Bristol City, a team who'd won once in 19, a team who didn't have a manager, a team who'd sacked their head coach of the night. No, sorry, they did have a manager. They sacked their head coach the night of the game. They've got Aaron Wilbraham's playing in their team.
But then a similar thing happened at Brighton, Wigan, Rotherham. All of these games, no offence, all these games are sackable offences. They are.
And the really frustrating thing about this is, as I know we've said on countless occasions this season, the playoffs have gone.
Yes.
If we win at Bristol,
we
win at Blackburn, we're then 4 points off the playoffs, with Huddersfield and Leeds still to play. So if we would have won them games, in the playoffs would have certainly still been on.
Imagine if we'd won those real...
the games you have to be winning.
God, just so frustrating, isn't it? I kind of wish that it was over this season now. I know I've never ever said that as a Norwich fan, but I think the fans, the board, the players just need closure because it's just failed. Really poor.
I mean, Blackburn, we were there. I kind of expected the atmosphere to be a bit different to what it was. I thought it was going to be a bit more jubilant to what it was. It was.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did, because
I thought it was quite a defiant on the ball City at the beginning of the game.
Brilliant.
But apart from that, that was it. Silent, pretty much.
I mean,
you can't blame the Norwich fans though, Jack, for being like that at all. Because after sacking the manager and Alan Irvin's leading the team out, everyone's not really sure what's going on. It was okay. The Blackburn fans didn't offer anything either. So
I mean, Blackburn didn't offer much. I think they were probably the worst team I've seen at Carrow this season.
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing. And if it wasn't for Mitchell Dykes being slightly mature, absolutely love the guy, being an absolute storm, probably the best player on the pitch since he's arrived at the football club. But no, he just let his head loose there, didn't he?
So we are now in a situation where playoffs aren't achievable.
Are achievable
next season.
Minute.
What, you still think we can get the playoffs?
You never know.
No, we're not going to do it.
Okay.
There are also chants of on Saturday of sack the board.
I think everything got absolutely blown out of proportion. I understand the supporters' frustration, and even I, for some reason, I hate booing, but I booed when Alex Pritchard went off.
Yeah, and you've got such strong feelings towards Alex Pritchard.
But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Come on, why wouldn't you?
You're on another level, though. You've
Every single person that watches this video will agree with me. Alex Pritchard deserves more than he's getting right now.
No, he does. I agree with you.
And he's better than Naismith.
Yeah. But I'm going to be devil advocate here.
Go on then.
It was a solely a tactical decision to bring Pritchard off.
It was.
So you can't really blame Alan Irvine. I think.
No, I'm not.
If you're looking at anyone to blame in this situation, it should be Mitchell Dykes.
Yes.
And Alex Neil for not giving Pritchard the game time.
Agreed.
Before that. If Pritchard would have had that game time, there wouldn't have been an issue of bringing him off.
I agree, Jack. The point I'm trying to portray is that I think all of the Norwich fans actually were just letting their anger be shown. And unfortunately for Alan and Alex Pritchard, it just got taken out in that situation.
Where do we go now then? We're gonna. Yeah, that would be good. I'm going to get onto the tweets in a bit, which kind of ask the questions of a whole range of questions. I think we're going to have to spend a lot of time on the questions that have been asked because they deserve our time. But in terms of short term, next couple of weeks, because I've got written down on here, we haven't really got much to play for now, and it's almost like a very, very long pre-season. I suppose we're in a similar situation now to Aston Villa. They haven't had a lot to play for a little while.
But then didn't they beat? Who did they beat at the weekend?
I don't know.
Correct me. One of the top teams. Was it Newcastle or Brighton? 1-2. Anyway, so
Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah, there you go.
Of course it was.
Not as good as them, but there you go. By the way, Sheffield Wednesday slipping up.
I know.
Oh my god.
This is the thing. We said it on Saturday. There are so many average teams in this league, and I think
that's with no disrespect. I think it's actually the whole league has taken a downward spiral in terms of quality this season.
I genuinely haven't watched a Norwich game this season and looked at a team and gone, "Wow, you really deserve to win that game."
Huddersfield.
I wasn't there, so I can't say.
Okay,
but even Huddersfield, like in terms of Championship football,
they were excellent.
Oh, come on, though, like really.
Yeah, but that's where we're at. That's the reality. I'm just being honest.
I'm saying as a league, not where we're at.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In terms of our competition, it hasn't been as good as the last time we got promoted.
No, definitely
In that
not.
time, we had a very strong Middlesbrough team, a very strong Watford team.
It's weird because of the amount of money. There's been more money pumped into the league this season than ever before, but the quality's been nowhere near.
I mean,
strange.
Yeah, you look at Aston Villa, spent 40 million in the summer, and
aren't they literally paying like the 5th highest wage bill in Europe or something? I'm sure someone will correct me.
I don't think it's the 5th, but it's certainly one of the highest.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to Norwich then.
Something positive?
I don't know about something.
Is there anything positive?
I don't know. I want to talk about this Alex Neil thing a little bit more.
Okay.
Why did we not make that decision? / were we right to put faith in him when a lot of other clubs wouldn't have done? Because I look back to December, November. I was looking at the fixtures today, and I was looking at the fixtures and thinking, where did I turn? Where did I think, okay, Alex Neil isn't the man to take us forward?
Yeah.
And I think it was late November.
You were early.
Yeah, we went through that streak sort of December and January when we won once in 10 games, and that was the real downward spiral. A lot of clubs. Gary Rowett was available. I'm sure we'll get onto him in a little bit. But there were managers available. A lot of the managers that are still available were available back then. So it wasn't the fact that there was no one out there to get.
Yeah.
We were still in a position where we could have kicked forward. Do you almost see that as a good trait for Norwich to have, in the fact that we do put faith in our managers, but historically that faith in managers hasn't worked out? You look back to Worthy, Chris Hughton.
I don't think football management isn't the same as it was, and that goes for recruiting the new guy. I mean, realistically, if we hire Alan Pardew, how many seasons is he going to last at Norwich City Football Club? Probably 2 tops. Let's be honest. So I don't think it's the same. I really don't. I don't blame the board for trusting him to a point. In November, trust him. But that game in December, was it Brighton in December?
Yeah,
it was Brighton.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah,
that was it. But I think Norwich City has a history of doing things the right way, not too dissimilar to the clubs such as Southampton, and perhaps I don't like rimming them too much, but Bournemouth. Proper football clubs that do things properly, and I think there's going to be more of that instilled within. And I do actually genuinely trust Delia and Michael to make the right decisions going forward into next season.
Okay, we'll get onto that in a little bit as well. Last sort of point I want to stick on Alex Neil here. First of all, his statement today I thought was very classy. He said that he thoroughly enjoyed his time at Norwich City, created some fantastic memories.
We made his career. We've really kick-started it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second of all, what do you think the turning point was? I know that the board meeting was scheduled, so it wasn't like an emergency board meeting.
No.
In the board meeting that eventually got him sacked. But do you think it was the last 2 games, the draw at Bristol City and the heavy defeat at Sheffield Wednesday, or do you think it was just a collective where they just went, this isn't working, we've made a decision, it didn't work, let's cut the ties?
Yeah, I think it was collective. I think enough is enough. I think they gave him ample opportunity to turn it around. As Ed Bull said, in light of that heroic display first time in the Championship where he got us up, they thought he could do that again, and rightfully so, but he didn't, and they had to get rid. So it's a good decision.
Okay, moan of the week.
Moan of the week. Okay, go on.
The fact that we've literally got nothing to play for the next 9 weeks, and we are going to be going away and home, going, okay, cool. If we win, sweet. If we don't, cool.
Okay.
Do you agree with that? Or do you think we do have something to play for?
No. And it was weird because it actually felt like a pre-season game, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
On the weekend. Really,
it was sunny, everything about it felt pre-season. I suppose the only thing, going against my point that I've just made, I suppose the only thing we do have to play for is off the pitch. Structuring.
It's all off the pitch, isn't it, for the rest of the season? This week is a huge week in terms of the football club, not just this season, but honestly, this season, if we don't do something, if we keep Alan Irvine, which I believe is one of the questions.
Alan Irvine will be managing this week's game.
Yeah, fair. But if he's the manager for the rest of the season, that is going to leave a long, deep scar in Norwich City Football Club's history.
Okay. Moan of the week.
My moan of the week is your Barnet. And I'll tell you why.
A Barnet? What's wrong with it?
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
It's freshly cut.
You've had a few comments in YouTube videos. You've not paid attention to your audience.
Mate, what's wrong with it?
Look, anyway, I've actually arranged for a special guest for the podcast this evening.
Okay.
And here he is. His name is Joe Capps.
Who's this?
He's a fully qualified barber, and he's going to give you a haircut.
No.
Yeah, he is.
So, what? Have my loyal fan base been saying my haircut?
And as a punishment, he will do to your hair whatever he wants to do to your hair.
So I don't get a say in it?
No, not a say at all.
Nah.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Nice to meet you, man.
How you doing?
I'm good, you?
Anyway, we do know Joe.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Joe has actually got a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, he does. Joe, while you cut my Barnet, talk to me while we talk about Norwich. Now, if you're watching on iTunes, if you're listening on iTunes at this current moment in time,
you'd be very confused.
We've got a barber in cutting my hair. So if you hear like a buzz, it's not like it's the clippers.
It's not a giant wasp.
No, it's not a giant wasp.
It is a Joe Capps.
So anyway, let's crack on. Joe, do your best.
I'll try, mate.
You're a Norwich fan as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
So I'm sure we can get you involved in this discussion. The next part is hype of the week. Joe, get cracking, mate. And what are you going to do first of all?
What am I going to do? Is your hair?
Yeah.
0 all over?
No.
That sounds perfect.
No.
0 all over.
What do you get?
Get the ears nice and pokey.
Normally a 1
No.
with a cheeky fade. Has to be a cheeky fade though.
My ears are big. That's my problem.
I'll go for a 4.
It's because you've been
Go for
putting
a
up
4.
with Norwich fans moaning all season.
Yeah.
They get bigger every time.
It is healthy hair though, isn't it? It's healthy hair. Anyway, Chris, hype of the week. What is your hype of the week?
Hype of the week, new manager.
Yeah?
New manager
This
alert.
is so weird.
Here you go.
This is actually kind of like being at the Barbers. But the good thing about this is
You've got cameras on you.
yeah, no, the thing is, I don't know if... Are you working in a shop at the moment, Joe, or not? Or are
Yeah.
You are?
I'm working on St Benedict Street.
Is it very awkward talking to people? Do you find it tough to make conversation?
Depends their age. Because you're
Because-
similar in age to me. So.
Yeah, because when I go into the barbers, I used to have a woman, and I was like, oh, nice weather outside, isn't it? It was my go-to. Nothing to talk about.
First question usually for me is,
Who do
are
you
you a
support?
football fan?
Yeah.
And as soon as they say no, I'm like, oh. No, I'm not.
Sorry, mate. I'm not
I'm
cutting your
at all.
hair.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh god.
Okay, hype of the week. You said new manager.
It's got to be the new manager, but there's loads of things to be excited about because you know what I'm
Is
really
there?
excited. Yeah, I tell you what I'm really excited about: the prospect of Roy Hodgson being director of football. I'm super hyped. No, seriously, and I'm not being sarcastic. I need to get this point across. The wealth of football experience that man's got, the contacts in the game. If you turn up as a potential player, and you see Roy Hodgson as director of football, you think, this club is really making some shapes. No, don't laugh, Jack. I'm being completely serious here. You do.
Yeah.
Got a good point.
Very well. See, Joe.
Do you agree,
agrees.
Joe?
And look.
Well, he's cutting my hair, so I can't really disagree with that.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
The big point of last week's podcast, we were at that moment in time, Alex Neil hadn't been sacked.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, Gary Rowett, always the popular thing. Does anyone actually know what Gary Rowett does? I'm gonna throw it back to you.
Sure.
What does a director of football actually do?
Again, like I've mentioned.
Do you know what a director of football does?
Yes.
What do they do?
And like I've mentioned.
What do they do?
I've already mentioned.
You
what
go
they
over the
do.
Ed Balls of dancing around questions.
No, I'm not. I've already mentioned what they do, Jack. And I'll tell you what a director of football does. A director of football plays a detrimental part in bringing in transfers to the football club.
Okay.
And he oversees everything. It's almost like having an arm from the footballing staff, i.e. the players, the coaches, the people that are at Colney, to the football club, the top brass, reporting back to Delia, that kind of thing. Roy Hodgson fits that like a boot. He's fantastic.
All right. So that was okay. That's one of the parts that we need to fill.
Yeah.
We don't actually know if we're getting a director of football.
We
yet.
are. It is going to happen.
Okay. So Roy Hodgson. Cool.
Yeah.
Manager. Now, there's
Boss.
been a few big moves today, and by the time you're seeing this podcast, their moves might have already happened. Gary Rowett is pretty much certain to go to Derby. We've got Mark Warburton going to Nottingham Forest.
Potentially, yeah.
Alan Pardew isn't... Well, he's very interested, but
Yeah.
the board aren't.
Yep.
You need to stop laughing. So who does that leave us with?
Pardew's the only option.
Because I had a text off Simon Thomas today, and he texted me and said, now that Rowett's going to Derby, now that Warburton's probably going to Forest,
Yep.
why not keep Irvine in for the next 4-6 weeks and really assess our options before we jump into going for someone who maybe was the second choice?
But we are. But as I've said already, Jack, I think we've been guilty of thinking too long term. Alex Neil was like, "Oh, he'll be a great manager in 5 seasons' time." We need results now. We need to be in the Premier League next season, like literally.
Well, we're not going to be in there next season, but
Do you know what I mean? Though we need
Yeah.
real. We need to kick up the arse.
Yeah.
And we need a manager that comes in with arrogance, with nastiness. The nice Norwich thing, I'm done with it. I'm fed up with it. That goes for the fans as well. We need to be nasty. We need some buffers in our team. We need some big players. And we need to play the championship game. How many times have we been buffed off the ball this season and lost games to teams that are on paper worse than us, Jack?
yeah, well, yeah. I don't think you can just go with we need a lot of hooligans in the team because
Not hooligans, buffers.
buffers. What's a buffer?
Big, bulked up
Mitchell Dykes.
buffer. Mitchell Dykes,
To get
exactly.
yeah, Chris Reed.
Joe Caps.
Joe Caps.
Get
Joe,
Joe.
yeah, Joe is a buffer, isn't he?
Yeah, I'd describe him as a buffer.
Cool, Joe, you're in. All right then. So,
I'm loving this look so far, by the way, Jack.
I can't actually see what's going on. Yeah, we're done. In the camera, it looks all right.
Yeah.
You know what? That was the smoothest little. Like, it was nice and smooth.
Was it smooth?
Yeah.
There you go. Joe Caps, ladies and gentlemen.
It feels nice. You know what the best thing about a fresh haircut is?
Imagine how nice Alex Neil felt, like moisturising his bald head in the morning.
You know bald people, do they wash their heads?
Yeah, they do. And I think they moisturise it religiously as well. Anyway, sorry, let's get back onto this because we're going off topic.
Yeah, okay. So, actually, I want to get to the Twitter questions. Let's talk a bit louder right now.
Okay.
Right, we went to you guys on Twitter and asked for your tweets. Basically, throw any questions you like at us. I've currently got a very loud buzz in my ear. Sounds like I've got tinnitus in there, so I'm going to speak very loud. The first point I want to raise, actually, is... Do you want me to move?
Yeah, you might have to, mate.
Am I going this way? Or that way?
That way.
This way? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's good one.
No worries. Tim Close. Looks like he's going to be going to Basel.
Okay.
So...
I think Tim... I'm not one to normally fall for rumours, but I feel like a lot of
This isn't a rumour.
Things have happened behind the scenes, and this is more than a rumour. It's come from multiple sources. There's been a changing room thing go on. You can see from Russ and Cameron Jerome's interviews, which, by the way, I'm so happy with those guys at the moment, being honest and transparent with the fans. That's what's needed. There's been a fallout. Tim Close has been part of that fallout. Would I like him to stay at this football club? Of course I would, because on his day, he's unbeatable. In the Championship this season, he's been buffed off the ball far too many times.
Yeah, and I don't think this is just a rumour either. I had a lengthy phone call today with a Swiss journalist. Swiss journalist got in contact.
God, you are so cool.
He wanted to speak to me about Tim Close. Wanted to get the lowdown.
Yeah.
Not really sure he came to me. But basically, Basel at the moment, although they're miles ahead of any team in... Oh, I love that feeling. Any team in Switzerland.
Sorry, for anyone that's listening on the podcast now, Jack's getting some water sprayed into that luscious Barnet of his. That luscious Leon Barnet.
What a player he was.
What a player he was, to be fair.
What was I talking... Oh, yeah, Tim Close. So basically, apparently at Basel at the moment, they've got a long-term goal of wanting to get that whole Basel team into basically homegrown players.
Amazing.
And of course, Tim Close came from Basel, was brought through the Basel ranks. And
do you not think he'll stick it out for another season?
I love Tim Close, and I think I love him so much because of his off-the-field antics. In terms of on form this season, I don't think he's warranted a place long-term.
Not too dissimilar to Alex Tete. You love him as a person, but as a footballer...
Average footballer.
Has he cut... a bit harsh.
No, I don't think it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Alex Tete is an average footballer, and I'm happy to say that. I think Tim Close is better than average. Joe, Alex Tete, what do you think about him?
Should have got rid of him quite a while ago.
I agree, because I think Alex Tete...
There's no upgrade of the squad.
Exactly. You said last week.
If
you look at this current squad,
yeah.
how many players have we got in there that was under Chris Hughton? Ruddy,
Martin,
Tete, Howson,
the dinosaur, Michael Turner.
I couldn't believe he was still part of the squad.
Yeah, people forget. Yeah,
he is still a footballer,
and
he is still a thing.
Big step aside.
Right, so let's get to our first question, which is from Lewis Plummer. Thoughts on Ian Culverhouse going to Kings Lynn?
Delighted for Kings Lynn. Great move for Kings Lynn. And really like Ian Culverhouse. So, great. Brilliant.
I loved Gary Setchell at Kings Lynn. I thought he was an absolute boss. But, that's a brilliant coup for Kings Lynn. And you know what I reckon? Here's my prediction the next 2 years.
Oh, here we go.
Grant Holt will be playing up front for him. I think it's a valid shout,
You heard it here first, and I'm tucking into the Bourneville.
I think it is, because he still lives in Norwich. He's coming to the end of his playing career, although he is still doing very well at Hibs. Kings Lynn.
Very well, by the way.
Decent sized club.
I don't think he's ready for Kings Lynn yet, Jack.
Not just yet. Give it 2 years.
Okay.
Kings Lynn will be back in League 2.
Okay.
Joseph Bird, who looks like he's a Liverpool fan, saying how big of a clear out is needed in terms of players and who should be signed to take NCFC to the next level. Now, this is a very big question.
I think we touched on this last week.
Yeah, we
Jack,
did.
There's many. There's at least 6 or 7 players you could comfortably cut out of this.
I suppose the different thing is now, though, is we're going to have a different manager, so that does change things up a bit.
Yeah, it does.
We've said. I think the thing we need to be this summer is ruthless. I don't think we've been ruthless enough.
Unfortunately...
So the likes of Alex Tete, the likes of Tim Close, who, are decent players on their day, and are nice guys. Same with Russ Martin, top guy. I think he brings a lot of value to the football club, but he doesn't bring value on the pitch, for me.
Disagree this season.
Yeah, maybe this season.
This season he's been fantastic. His leadership on the pitch,
so
without him...
Russell Martin has been fantastic, yet we've got the third worst defence in the league.
Fair point.
Boom.
I'm just saying,
At this point, you need those sunglasses that go on your head.
I'm just saying, I completely agree with you. I love Russell Martin. I think he's a top guy, a top professional. But is he doing a good enough job?
He is, yeah. He is, yes. As a collective unit, no.
All right, then. So you've got Russell Martin. You put him next to Tim Close. It's league goals all season. You've got Russell Martin. You put him next to Ryan Bennett. It's league goals.
Ryan Bennett and Tim Close. I honestly don't think Russ is the problem.
Really? All right, so you've just dropped Russell Martin then?
No, I don't think Russ Martin is the problem. I think Russ Martin's played well all season, honestly.
All right, cool.
Stand by that.
Luke Speck saying, would you be open to making an approach for either Karanka or Wagner?
Well, of course, but the likelihood of those managers coming to Norwich City is...
You say that, Wagner, fantastic job at Huddersfield this season. Will Huddersfield go up? Probably.
Wagner rejected Wolfsburg. He's not going to come to Norwich City.
True. Are we bigger than Wolfsburg?
Of course.
Matt Slater, the first thing the new manager needs to sort out.
Everything.
I tell you, the first thing the manager needs to sort out: the pies.
No, the pie.
Pies. I would really.
That's the only good thing about Saturday.
Is there a curry on the way day? I always get a curry pie. Maybe that's a Midlands thing. I don't know.
The Balti. No, they sell chicken Baltis, Chris, in the Parkway.
Sorry. Well, in which case, if it's not the pies, I think the new manager needs to get the most out of youth players. Key point, Jack. Yeah. Youth players.
I suppose, Joe, I want to get your thoughts on this. We've seen Rob Butler this week say a lot about how he wants to bring an Alan Pardew in, a man who can lead the whole club rather than just the people who play on the pitch. Do you think that the modern day manager's role is to almost go into a Paul Lambert and Alan Pardew, come into a club and lead everything? Or do you think it is to solely concentrate on the tactics and the game day?
I think it's everything.
Yeah?
Because you look at like Ferguson, most successful managers, they're on top of everything.
Yeah.
So they know every aspect of the club, and that's how a club should be run.
I suppose we haven't had a manager like...
No, since Lambert left.
The weird thing is, though, Paul Lambert, what has he done since he left Norwich?
Would you have him back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting point. I'd love to hear what you guys think as well. Would you have Paul Lambert back now?
No.
Well, Wolves fans don't like him.
All right, but he's a legend.
No. I know. What I'm saying is, since he's left Norwich, he's literally done nothing. Would you class? Yeah. Would non-Norwich City fans class Paul Lambert as a good manager? Probably not.
Not anymore. No.
So it's an interesting debate.
I'm not saying I want Paul Lambert back. I'm just saying it's an interesting debate.
And the opposite thing is Chris Hughton, terrible job here. One of the best managers in the Championship at the moment. So
yeah, but he did do well with us in the Premier League for the first season.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I suppose it is harsh on him.
Or in football.
Yeah, it was the football he played, and I suppose that comes back to the point of Gary Rowett. Not the most attractive style of football, but effective in this league. Do we want someone? Joe, would you take? All right, I'm throwing out here, very hypothetical. Would you take us being third in the league at the moment, but playing hoofball?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because then you can just change your style of play next season if you need to.
Yeah. But is it as easy as that? Can a manager change his style of football overnight?
Yeah, I think you should adapt.
Okay.
You should be able to adapt.
I suppose it's a valid point. I mean,
Alan's got no excuse, no disrespect to him, but I mean, he's not going to stay. He said he's not applying for the job. Just change it. I'm desperate to see youth players, honestly. Madison and Godfrey, even Carlton Morris as well. Get him back, seriously.
So, next question is coming in from Mark Woodruff, who's actually been interacting a lot with the podcast recently. So, Mark, thanks very much, mate. And as always, if you are new to the podcast, tweet us at Jack Reeve TNC or at Chris Revo, or leave your thoughts down in the comment section of this video. And if you're on iTunes, then just say it to yourself or something. He said, do you think the board will try and get a good, expensive manager to get us to the Premier League, or would you be happy with a cheaper / mediocre option?
I think the board have been very guilty of going for the cheaper option, because I think they're trustworthy people. They put their trust in Neil Adams. They put their unfortunately, they gave the manager's position to Brian Gunn, which was a massive mistake as well. Never give a job to a legend. Never offer it to them, because of course they're going to take it. I hope they've learnt their lesson, and it's their last throw of the dice now, Jack. I think that, how many more years realistically can Delia and Michael run this football club? They're getting on. I absolutely love them, and I think they've done everything for this club, and I wouldn't have it any other way. They're fantastic owners, but I really do think it's their last throw of the dice. They've got to get this decision right, Jack.
Joe, do you trust the current board? Do you trust the current regime to make what are very wholesale and important changes over, or the decisions over the next coming months?
Not at all.
No?
Nah, it's not ruthless. It is literally just like they need a yes man kind of thing. Even though Alex Neil gave off that Scottish hard
they've got to be best friends of Delia.
Yeah, so I mean, they have to get on with them, and if, someone like Pardew, I don't know how their relationship would be.
Yeah, and I suppose that was the reason why Lambert left. Is because
that's what I mean.
No, Lambert left because of David McNally.
Well, yeah,
not because of Delia.
They would have had a say, surely.
If Lambert was more subdued, then he wouldn't have fallen out with David McNally. That's what I'm trying to say. Lambert wanted to progress this football club forwards to an extent where McNally and I'm sure Delia didn't quite feel comfortable with it.
Okay.
Next one. Grant says, "Will you be disappointed when Irvine?" Or he hasn't even given an option here. Will you two be disappointed if, I'm going to say, Irvine is announced until the end of the season?
Yeah, hugely disappointed, because there's no motivation there, Jack. I think that...
Does it matter?
Of course it matters. This is our football club we're talking about, man.
But there's nothing to play for now.
There is. They owe the fans. The fans. How much money did you pay for your season ticket this season?
Too much.
Too much money. But that money doesn't matter if the team play well until the end of the season, does it? I
mean, for me, I'm a bit split on this one, because I still think the players are going to be motored under Alan Irvine, and we saw that on Saturday. Although it was a very boring game, to play at 80 minutes with 10 men is very tough, and they did a good job to a certain extent. So I don't think, the thing I really don't want to... Look, it's a hard balance. One, I don't want to see us rush the decision and get it wrong. But two, I don't want to see us wait too long and miss out on possible opportunities.
That is true.
So it is a very tough one, a very tough balance to...
We need to... This is another thing as well, is that we need to start actually genuinely scouring Europe for a manager.
Yeah, that was the thing, because I tweeted out earlier this morning and I said, look guys, are there any managers out there, apart from the obvious, the Rowerts, the Pardews, the Warburtons, that you're aware of? And so many people got back to me, obviously probably from Football Manager knowledge, but there are genuine good managers out there in Europe that I don't know about, that you don't know about, but that scouts would. Yeah,
100%. And if you actually look back through Norwich City's history in terms of the types of the nationalities of managers, it's actually Northern Ireland or Republic of Ireland. Only Worthington in our era, I believe. But before that, there was many managers that were Irish.
Have we actually ever had a European manager?
I don't. Well, possibly. I'm sorry, I don't know.
I
don't think so. Unless Scotland counts. Scotland might count as Europe.
Yeah, true. Finn Stevens, bit of a different one, bit of a light-hearted one, which is nice. If you could bring back one Norwich City player in their prime, who would it be?
That is a real...
Holty.
Yeah, it's got to be Holty, isn't it? For me, it's got to be Holty.
For me, it would be David Strahafka. No, I'm joking. It's got to be Dion Dublin. It's a bit of an uncommon... Yeah, I mean, I really like Dion. And I like Dion because he was a leader on the pitch, off the pitch, trained hard, was extremely nice to fans, always showed them the time of day, which is definitely expected, of course. Gelled the team together in a time where Rhoda littered our squad with loan players. And yeah, Big Dion. And the great thing about Big Dion is he could play anywhere.
Yeah.
I tell you what, he's no Stephen Whittaker, but he could play anywhere. Up front, centre mid, defence, absolute baller.
Joe, you agree with me? Holty?
I definitely agree, Holt.
I have to say something different, don't I? Otherwise everyone chooses quite more.
That'd be boring, wouldn't it? Cameron, who looks like a Newcastle fan, do you genuinely think that you will go up next season? Huge rebuilding job, could take years to establish once again. Now, first of all, this is quite scary because I think there's a very genuine, valid point in there that jobs like this aren't easy, and if we get it wrong, then we could seriously screw up.
If it doesn't happen next season,
It's not going to happen for a while.
then we might end up,
Don't say it. I know what you're going to say.
Yeah?
Next season.
No, okay.
You don't think we'll go up next season, Joe?
Nah.
Really?
No. Think of the quality of the players, all the teams with the
And
players
how
that are coming
much,
down, and then on top of what everyone's building already,
a
Norwich
great
is
shout.
too
What-
far behind.
I suppose on paper, though, we've still got one
On
of the best.
paper, but you
But
look at our squad this season on paper.
Yeah, that's very true. But I suppose the difference next season would be, hopefully, if we get things right, which is a very if at the moment, it wouldn't just be on paper, it would be off paper as well.
It would. You've
So-
asked me a question on mid-chocolate.
Yeah, I mean, Joe, what would make you more confident then? What would we have to do for you to say to me, yeah, we're going up next season?
I'd probably go for a foreign manager, like you said,
Okay.
because it mixes things up completely,
Yeah.
and then you can get their knowledge of all the players from Europe, whatever European club they've been at or experience they've had.
That want it more because they
Yeah,
want
exactly.
the Premier League more.
They've got an opportunity in England then.
100%.
And then look at the clubs that have done that, like Huddersfield
Yeah,
this
yeah.
season,
Yeah. Middlesbrough.
Borough,
Yeah.
Karenka.
Yeah.
No, so anything else except for the manager?
They've got seriously though, they've got such a
Scouting.
rebuilding job.
Scout, it's just everything.
Yeah.
Really
It's
good
everything.
point. We've got to start investing throughout the club, not just on playing staff, is in the playing staff, is in coaches, is in scouts, all of that, and possibly even Ricky Martin as
Make
well.
him manager.
No,
He deserves a little upgrade, doesn't he?
but the main role.
Ricky Martin hasn't been promoted from a
Please
job for at
don't
least 3 months.
slate
There's
Ricky
really
Martin too
reason
much.
for
I
that.
get a bit defensive about Ricky Martin.
Why?
So I just think it's unfair to slate him
Why?
because
What's he done to deserve his role?
he's been very loyal to the football club
Brilliant.
over the years.
Cool, so have I.
Norwich have had loads of loyal people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're good for the club.
Yeah.
Neil Adams.
You know what? Yeah, I've been shot down there.
Yeah.
Neil Adams! What, is he still at the club or not? Is he still our lone
It would be
manager?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Get him back on Canary Call, I say.
Neil.
Here we go. This is a really interesting question, actually, from that boy Scott. Scott, thanks very much. He is a Norwich fan this time. Do you believe, as part of the restructure, a fan representative, possibly through the Canaries Trust, should be in place on the board? So I suppose this question is: does there need to be better communication with the fans, and that made possible through the more fan involvement actually
Yes.
on
Yes.
the restructuring of the board?
Yes.
So, do you know what the Canaries Trust do?
I know that they are amazing at what they do.
Yeah. So basically, the Canaries Trust, if you don't know, is an organisation where there are members of the Canaries Trust. I'm not sure how many members there are. You pay £12 a year to be a member of that trust. From that money, they then buy shares in the club.
Mm-hmm.
So the Canaries Trust, I think, are the 7th highest shareholders in the club, or something like that. Might be wrong, but they've got a fairly big chunk of the club, which means if everything goes tits up, at least the fans have basically still got a say in it.
Okay.
From that, they've got a very good relationship with the club. They're constantly talking to them. Robin Saintey, who is the chairman, has a very good relationship with Ed Balls, with Steve Stone, so they're constantly talking to them, and through that it means that fans can have a say, and the Canaries Trust have had a very big say in the past few weeks, or the past few days I should say, with Alex Neil. So with that being said, let's take for example the Canaries Trust. Do you think they should have more involvement with the club? Do you think fans should have more of a say? Or do you think that's a risky route to go down, because fans are very emotionally invested, and normally when you're emotionally invested with business, it can often lead to bad decisions?
I think it's a fine margin. I think the fans haven't been listened to enough this season, but when they have, it's not been recognised enough. I'd really love to see more transparency from the top brass down to the fans. If we go on a poor run of form, let's reassure the fans why we're sticking with Alex Neil, for example. That should have happened at least 3 times this season.
Yeah.
Gone should be the days where Norwich City fans are left in the dark about things. Even the dodgy email Q&As about whether we care about electric turnstiles and the pies going up and who we follow on social media. I actually quite like that. I think fans being given the
That's what you
accountability
feel
and
part of it,
credibility.
don't you?
And you invest more in it, and you buy more in it, and I think the fans should be offered more. I think the club owe Norwich fans. Obviously, they're doing things like the half price Villa tickets.
Brilliant.
But you look at Brighton. And what they've done. With their shirts for, is it under 16s or something like that?
Yeah. So I want to get this right now. I read an article. I think it's under 12s. Literally everyone in Brighton gets a free shirt or something like that. I don't think you've just got to be a fan.
Okay, well that's even better. But
I did see as well, Sunderland are doing £25 season tickets for under 10s, I think, next year.
Wow, that's incredible. That is incredible. But for me, just something nice. I think the fans need to be given more. But going back to the question, they need to be recognised, not just listened to, but genuinely recognised and listened to.
I completely agree with you, and I think fans do need to be treated well. But I suppose the other point of view is here, and going back to Ed Balls' interview with BBC Radio Norfolk, when he said it's very tough to keep a constant
totally agree with him.
A constant running commentary, he called it, on the process to sack a manager, because it's just not possible.
We just need to do that, but just an update every. You know what? Even if they set like a quarterly update, whether it's going good or not, I'm not just talking about the financial end of year statement, Jack. Every quarter, let's do it.
Yeah.
A fans update, why not?
Or even a little kind of fans forum kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Cool. Aaron Myhill, would you rather a manager with experience or an unknown upcoming manager? Also, is it time for James Maddison to start?
100% experienced manager, 100% it's time for James Maddison to start this season. Perfect opportunity for him to get some game time now, against some decent teams.
Joe, I'm going to come to you here. Chris has just said that he wants an experienced manager. Two managers that we've talked about who would like to see, Wagner or Karanka, weren't known about before they had their respective success at their clubs. So, is there an argument there? Maybe if we bring someone in from, I don't know, the Spanish division who we don't know about. I can't remember his name, but the Las Palmas manager has been in with a shout. Would you... I mean, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd definitely go abroad.
Yeah?
An experienced manager is like... I think there's much more possibilities if you go for someone... Just like what happened with Alex Neil, but obviously it wasn't the right fit in the end. But he had that instant hit because he wasn't known. There wasn't the pressure of the name and automatic success.
But if we go abroad, Joe, we have to have experience. It's just absolutely essential.
Some form of experience, but not like ridiculously high.
Not
good
like a
play, good playing style, good like team ethic, like chemistry.
Yeah.
As long as like
someone with I look at Conte at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I love him. I absolutely love him. I don't
think we're going to be able to get Conte.
I wish.
Just yet.
But his attitude and the way he inspires his players, and even you look in the dressing room after the game, they've got a beer. After a game of football, they've got a beer. And they're professional footballers in 2017. But if the manager is respected by the players work harder.
Yeah. I think that's all that really needs to be said on that one. Let's go to Sean, who also always interacts with the podcast. So, Sean, big up to you, my friend. He says, what changes would you like to see to be made in our restructure? Now, I'm going to kick this one off because there's a lot. So, we need a new manager. We need a CEO. We need a director of football.
Yeah.
We need to get rid of Ricky Martin.
New ball boys.
Yeah.
Far too slow, honestly. Far too slow. Have been for years.
That could be the big problem.
Yeah.
Get rid of Ricky Martin and get an actual recruitment structure in that works. Did Ricky Martin's last transfer window work? No, it didn't. Why did he get the job? Don't know. Ricky Martin, sure, he's a nice guy, doesn't deserve the job. Chris. Oh, and of course, just the small fact of getting about 10 new players in.
I have nothing to add to that. Next question. Nothing to add to that.
It's a big one, isn't it? Matthew Howman says which players to keep and build a team around next season and who goes.
Johnny Howson. Wes Houlihan.
Even Wes, though. I love Wes. But it is very odd that we are still looking at a player who is 34 years old for any spark of creativity.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't lose him because he's an important part of the dressing room. People love and respect him, and rightly so.
Joe, anyone who's in a pretty torrid time this season you'd love to keep? And I suppose build around?
It's hard to say. Like, you've basically covered probably the main players. Oliveira.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, brilliant shout, actually. A very good shout.
Completely forgot about that.
Love his fight as well.
Yeah. You just love anyone who gets sent off needlessly.
Yeah, there's not many players I think deserve to stay because
Ruddy?
Nah.
No, get rid.
Gone ages ago.
Fair play.
That's just another player who we've just settled with.
Yeah.
And the replacement of like McGovern is not good enough to the standard.
We've settled, haven't we? And I think that's a great word used.
Replacement.
We've settled on things. Tete, we've settled on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only player from that Chris Hughton era who we've still got, who I genuinely love, is probably Johnny Howson.
Yeah. Probably, 100%.
I look at the others. Yeah, Ruddy's a decent keeper, but
nowhere near to stand he was.
No.
I think he probably wanted to leave and chose
to
stay.
He did. He wanted to go to Sunderland.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Got hair in my mouth now. This is awkward.
By the way, haircut's looking very good.
Is it? I can.
Yeah, it is.
We've got the little screen.
Skip some things out, otherwise it would have been too loud.
Yeah, I'd rather a bodged haircut and good audio quality. It's all about the fans, Joe.
Yeah.
Can we hate of the week?
Yeah, let's go for it. Oh, I know. This is a good one. Capital Canaries. Big up Capital Canaries. Friend has mentioned
Canaries.
Barnsley gaffer Heckenbottom as a possible candidate. Looking about this guy earlier. Should be in with a shout. Done great things with Barnsley. I'll take that as a no then.
Jack.
Why not?
Jack, seriously, we can't be looking at Barnsley and aspiring to these managers. We're Norwich City Football Club.
Yeah.
We're not Tin Pot. We've got to get rid of this little old Norwich attitude.
That's a bit harsh on Barnsley. They tonked us this season.
Did they?
Yeah, they. Yeah,
Did they?
Yeah, they beat us.
Did they?
We're playing them on Saturday, so
yeah, bring it on.
Don't wind their hooligans up. Get to your hate of the week.
Yeah, this is a new feature that we're doing on the podcast, actually, and the reason why we're doing it is a bit deep.
Is it?
Well, what is it?
I don't
Why are we doing hate of the week?
Well, basically, I was on the Long Ball Street podcast on last week. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Long Ball Street podcast, but listen to our one first. And on there, basically, they talked to me about how to deal with hate, and I think even more so because we're kind of younger people. I suppose it's maybe tougher to deal with hate comments.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Could be.
But we get our fair share.
We do.
And
we thought we'd share them with you.
Yeah, and I think that
there's a bit of a laugh.
I think the thing is with hate comments, if it's genuine, like, I listen to constructive criticism, of course I do, and I listen to people I respect. If I don't respect them, and if it's not constructive criticism, it goes like over me like.
And we're now going to read them out because some of them are just absolutely priceless. But the real thing is, actually, to get a bit deep about this, Jack, is that, you know, if you're a young guy or girl and you're listening to this, and you know you're bullied at school, I really
wouldn't say we're being bullied here.
We're not being bullied, but what I mean is, like, this is a really important life lesson. I'm being bullied. I'm being bullied. Right, so let's read it out. So I've got a few to read out. Should we take it in turns?
I don't get any hate, so
you do. You do.
No, you just read them out. I haven't got any on my phone.
So I've got a few here. Jacob Murphy's been our best player this season. I usually don't mind Chris, but he was unbearable here.
Yeah, you've had a lot of criticism about your love for Jacob Murphy.
Why? He's a youth player. He's one of our own. He's up and coming. All right, he doesn't track back. Of course. All right, he doesn't track back. Don't beat the guy up. He's a good player.
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Next on the list, this is one of my personal favourites, Jack. I'd love to get your opinion on this. Jack, you don't need Chris on your podcast. In my opinion, he doesn't add any value to your channel. How do you feel about that?
Well, you pay me to appear on it.
There you
go. No. Of course you add value. Food.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Who was that, by the way?
Shout out to Michael Heron.
Didn't you also say we're brothers?
Second name.
Yeah, not a nice bird either, Heron.
Herons are quite, yeah.
Once nicked one of my fish.
Yeah. Anyway, here's another one, quick one. Chris is so effing deluded.
Yeah.
Just STFU, mate. This one I got really hurt by. Like, it really hit me hard. And I cried for hours over this. Like, I really, really cared. So, big shout out to Harry Good, who looks like he's a Brighton fan. Yeah, great comment. Really added value there.
Literally no reason to hate on us because Brighton spanked us this season.
Yeah.
So,
but again, if he'd said, Brighton 5, Norwich 1, fair play. Yeah. But anyway, hate of the week. Jack, what about you? Have you got any? Or are you going to stay out of it this week?
Yeah, I'll stay out of it this week.
Okay. But Jack does get abused as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. By you.
Yeah, I do, to be fair.
Upcoming game.
Yep.
Barnsley.
Yep. What do we do?
Yeah, what do we do?
Field young players that really care. He's got to mix it up now.
The weird thing with Bourneville is it tastes more like milk chocolate than dark chocolate.
It's lovely. I love Bourneville. Back in the day when I went to school, I used to buy one of these on the way and I would have finished a whole bar of chocolate before the end of form time.
Dark chocolate on the way to school.
I'm sorry, but
you were bullied, weren't you?
I've been a baller all my life.
Who buys dark chocolate in school?
I got called a snob, by the way, the other week. So big shout out to that guy as well.
To be fair, is Bourneville snobbish?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
I think I'm
better than normal chocolate.
I think that's a justified comment.
So fair enough, I'm a snob.
Yeah.
Barnsley at home, Jack. For me, we've got to field... Alan Irvine hasn't got an excuse. He's got to field his own side now. Will it be Alex Neil's? I hope not.
No, of course it won't be.
I'd love to see Madison there. I really would. I'd love to see Godfrey as well.
Who else is there?
What do you mean, who else is there?
Like, in terms of youth players?
Okay, well, it's not just the youth players.
Yeah.
Pritchard.
Yeah.
We've got to do something radical. We've got to completely mix it up. We really have to.
Let's just stick Benny Ashley Seal in centre back.
Okay, I'm up for that.
He's a striker, but
perfect.
Gonna switch up. Cool. Joe, what do you want to see happen from Barnsley?
What, from Norwich?
Yeah, just in terms.
He's too busy cutting your hair. He's
concentrating. Yeah, sorry, I zoned out, mate. What do I
hope you didn't zone out. You cut his hair.
You know what I mean. I was in the zone.
Okay.
In the zone.
Yeah.
What team do you want to see? What style do you want to see us play? Formation? What pie do you want to buy at half time?
Well, I think because the season's pretty much over, they might as well just try something different.
What
happens though over the season is that they go, oh well, they might as well try and change something up. Now there's nothing to play for. Like as soon as we basically relegated, it's like, oh, we might as well try something different now.
Frustrating.
It's all the time. It's never found the perfect fit of anything.
He speaks the truth.
If I was Alan Irvine, I'd just walk into the change rooms. You know the scene out of Wolf of Wall Street when DiCaprio is kind of like that? Yeah. I'd go in the change rooms and I'd be like, lads, fuck it.
Fucking leaving.
Stevie Naismith, you're in centre back.
Surely midfield, in ode to Alex.
He has played midfield, yeah.
Get
Stevie Wicks, we're recreating Brentford at home. We're sticking you in centre midfield.
Can I just bring this up?
I'm out of
Can I just bring this up a really interesting point? I'm going to wangle my pen at you while I say this.
That's my pen.
An absolutely brilliant shout from Norwich fans at the weekend, which was, go on Stevie, high foot him, literally kill him.
Yeah.
Norwich fans in the
Stevie Wicks should have been sent off at the weekend.
Norwich fans actually wanted Stephen Whittaker to get sent off. And I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was our man of the match.
The thing with Stevie is he's kind of like a hybrid, isn't he? You just play him anywhere. Just literally anywhere.
Yeah.
I think he's got the...
rhythm is a dancer.
UEFA ranked his goal for Rangers as the 16th best goal ever in Europe.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I think he scored against Sporting Lisbon.
For that alone, new contract.
So basically, he's the 16th best player in Europe.
Yep, that's why he's here. Sign him for free. Great value for money. Only scores screamers. Swansea.
He does. Derby.
That was a good goal.
Exactly. Anyway, enough about Stephen Whittaker.
It's chocolate.
Score prediction, Jack. Don't you think it's a shame that we can't be like 3-0 Norwich? Like, there's no fight from you anymore.
Barnsley aren't as good as they were before the January transfer window. They lost Conor Hourihane, Sam Winnell.
Say that under a few.
Conor Hourihane. I'd love to see Paul McVeigh commentate on Norwich if we had Conor Hourihane and Wes Hoolahan.
Love Paul McVeigh.
With a bit of potion. It's all about the potion, Chris.
It is.
It's all about the potion.
That is an awful Irish accent. He's not going to be happy with that.
Sorry, Paul. Score prediction, 1-1.
Really?
Yeah, like genuinely.
I literally can't go through a 1-1. I'm going to be optimistic, and I'm going to be completely out there, and I'm going to say we're going to beat Barnsley 3-0.
3-0?
3-0. We're going to beat them 3-0.
Joe?
Lose 2-1. Genuinely.
Yeah?
Genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, it will happen.
The atmosphere will be very cagey, and it's not going to improve, is it? So he's got a great...
The only positive I can see this week is at least Irvine can pick his team this week.
Very true. Very true.
And
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah.
We'll find out. Anyway, I suppose that rounds it up. Hair in my mouth.
Shall I finish while you talk? While you get the hair?
Yeah, you have a little finish, and I'll
thanks for watching the podcast, guys.
listening as well.
Like and subscribe, and also subscribe to Joe's YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Just smashing life, full stop. The Caps brothers are all over it. He's got a great brother as well. So check out their channels. Absolutely awesome. Like and subscribe. What do you finish a video on normally?
Well,
can I say like a classic TNC?
He
knows. He knows. Don't say peace out. I've got a few more things to say.
Okay, sorry.
If you're on iTunes, subscribe. Actually, had a lot of iTunes listens this week. So
boom. Well done.
Thank you. And I also, if you've got this far and you're on iTunes, send a picture of where you're listening to the podcast from. We had someone last week send a picture in from Los Angeles, was driving down this road, sea in the background, with the TNC podcast on his dashboard.
That is incredible. That's what it's all
about.
about.
Can't actually remember who it was. Whoever you are, doubt there's many TNC fans in LA.
How about this?
I'd
like to see a picture of someone listening to the TNC podcast in the weirdest place possible.
No, that'd be weird.
Yeah, but that's why. It'll be so weird.
Will come up.
I don't trust.
Right, are you finishing or is Joe? Or am I?
Yeah, go and subscribe to Joe. Links in the description. Subscribe to the Talk Norwich City YouTube channel. Subscribe on iTunes. A massive thank you. Leave any thoughts and stuff you want us to talk about next week in the comment section below. Leave a like, and I will see you guys next week for another episode. Peace out. Once upon a time, a fairy tale life.